Hi guys, and thank you for coming back to my channel. It is your favorite mystic, TheSirenSayz, and welcome back to another commentary video. So this is going to be about Married at First Sight, United Kingdom, episode 1. This will kind of be an introduction, my overall thoughts on whoever I can remember who weren't the two couples today, and also my general thoughts on Married at First Sight UK as a whole. So I obviously wrote down some notes for this one because I want to be a little bit more pointed than usual. But yeah, disclaimer, even though these people are real, which is unlike my regular shows where I talk about, fake stuff, where it's like I say these people are not real, these people are real, but you have to understand that people are going to get opinions based on what is shown. I will probably talk about a little later the idea of the edit and my personal thoughts on the edit. Now, my personal thoughts on the edit are not going to change, so please don't try to change those opinions. I will just let you know how I think so that you can understand how I think. You don't need to agree, but you may need to understand, okay? I will try to respect everybody, especially since they did us the courtesy of making this a very diverse season. I can give them nothing but respect for that. But where the BS is, the BS will be called out, and that just has to be how it has to be. However, I will not be as passionate and upset as I am with fake shows, because with fake shows, you can breathe out your frustrations, let out all your anger, because it's fake, so you can project there. I'm not going to be projecting on these people because honestly it couldn't be me. So they are all going to get a little bit of kudos from me for having the balls to do this thing that could embarrass them, ruin their lives, get them to lose their jobs, like Olivia. But it was deserved for her. But let me just say this right now because I don't want to forget it later. I do like Jay and Luke, but I am scared that is going to be like Cam and Laurel. I cannot for the life of me remember if Cam and Laurel, I think Cam and Laurel was the Australian season. I think they were on the Australian season. I think Cam had to go out to some reserves at one point, and that was a contention in their marriage. I really liked them, but then all of a sudden I got hit with the fact that Cam and Laurel's wedding was also very similar. Similar in what way? Laurel, like Jay, had an issue that has plagued whatever relationships that she used to have, and she did not want to be judged for that. She wanted somebody who could see her for more than whatever she had an issue with, or whatever she lacked, or whatever. Cam came in not able to get anything that really meant anything and wanted to have a partner that he could rely on. He seemed to be the perfect man for Laurel. Now, mind you, in my personal opinion, I don't think Laurel was all that great, not because of anything that had to do with Cam, but because of the girls that she hung around and that she considered close and confidants during the season. By the end of it, I was side-eyeing her with the people that she decided to defend, but when it comes to her and Cam, she didn't deserve that. And I don't believe a word that comes out of Cam's mouth about her as it pertains to their marriage. He was shysty. And so I'm hoping that Luke is not the second coming of Cam. My nigga Luke, this is your disclaimer. Don't mess with Jay. Don't do it. There is a nice hard rock in the pits of hell for you if you mess with Jay. Okay? And this is not because she has a disability. This is because I can personally relate to her story of feeling like you're not good enough, of feeling like you just need to take what you can get, and that you don't need love. Don't do that. Do not do that. Anyway, let's get into the stag and hang parties, can we? So, everybody comes in. dressed to the nines, gives us their itty bitty sob stories about how they could never find love and how they're hoping they can find love here. Immediately, the most dramatic person is Ella, but are we shocked? There's always got to be that one dramatic person in this show, and obviously that will be Ella. There was even a section where they spoke about in the teaser for the next episode where the night was overshadowed, and that's because she's worrying about coming out to dude. I don't remember his name right now. Obviously I'll get it when I watch the episode, but you know. So yeah, I really need to see more of that coupling to get more accustomed to their personalities and like them. Let me talk about the edit really quickly. So, especially in Married at First Sight, they speak about the edit and a lot of people who were villainized. Like our favorite old girl, Olivia. I say favorite because I dislike her heavily. She was on this season with Dominica. I will always love her, but the fact that she couldn't make it work with her man has left a sour taste in my mouth. But Olivia was a horrific person. Horrible. But she would say that it is the edit that made her look bad. Even though people who knew her in real life said things to the effect that, yeah, what you saw there is how she actually is. It wasn't really an edit. Maybe one or two conversations between her and her husband Jackson. You see how I can remember her name? That's how terrible she was. Maybe one or two scenes between those two where they argued was misconstrued, but for the most part, it wasn't really an edit. Yes, she was villainized, but she villainized herself. Here is my opinion on the edit. There are many different slots to be filled in reality TV shows. Sometimes you can't pick which ones you go into, but you can help aid in the ones that you're not in. Right? So it doesn't matter how nice you think you are. You might not be the angel of the show, but you can try your darned hardest not to be the villain though. There are lots of people, even in this current season, that I can see being villainized who are actually making strides to be like, hey, even if everybody else villainizes them, I won't, because I'm getting enough of information in the edit to say otherwise of their character. So how are you supposed to be mad at the people and for using the footage? What you should have said is that I may have said it, but I didn't mean it. I wish they wouldn't have added that in. I would respect that more than you acting like the words that came out of your mouth aren't actually the words. Yes, if you watch people like Rehash with Wilco, he'll be able to tell you when scenes are Frankensteined together. But for the most part, y'all be saying full sentences and then acting like they Frankensteined a paragraph together. No, you said that whole sentence. You said 3 sentences within the span of 1 minute 30 seconds. They did not stitch all of that together. They may have stitched some of the reactions and maybe the response of what the person said after you said it, but you still said it. You still said it, sir, ma'am. So I just want you guys to understand, if I dislike anybody this season, I'm not going to be soft and talk about how it's just the edit. We don't know who they really are. Because I've gotten evidence in prior seasons of this show that sometimes that is exactly who the person is. They just never thought that people would dislike them when they came on TV. So it's not the edit. You just underestimated your own character. And that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to be like, ooh, you underestimated your character, didn't you? It just is what it is. Okay, that was long, but this is just the first episode, so we don't really have much to go on with the people yet. So I thought I'd just give you my overall thoughts on the Married at First Sight experience and some of the more controversial aspects of the show. So the stag and head parties were okay. Nothing really much to see. I do want to talk about, though, the types of men and women who come on this show. Now, we've already talked about the villain types who are going to complain about their edit because they overestimate their own character. But let's talk about people who are stealth villains. The high maintenance girlies and the she better be pretty niggas. I need y'all to understand that if your standards are too high, don't come on this show. I would love to have a season filled to the brim with people who don't have material or physical standards. I just need them to just wake up, because I'm sick and tired of always being able to see that drama is going to come because somebody was too shallow or too high maintenance. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have it, that nobody should have a type at all, and that you should just get the butt ugliest people with a good heart. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm just saying that it's too often now that every single season there's like two girls and two men who just thought way too highly of themselves, and like it's like they're adults but they did not understand what they were walking into. The first few seasons you get a pass because nobody really knows what the show is yet. Married at First Sight is like an all-around famous thing. You must know what you're getting into now. I really don't care to want to hear the contestants of this season like complain about the process in terms of the process itself, because at this point you have got to know what you're getting yourself into. You've got to know, because I'm getting sick and tired of that trope too, of they're too awkward and so they can't build a relationship. Ooh, and let's not even get started on the people who aren't deep being paired with people who are, and so nothing happens because one person wants to get quote unquote too deep all the time when another person just doesn't want to do anything of any worth. Maybe I'm just asking for too much maturity from these couples. But you know what, we'll see as the season goes on if I'm seeing less of the prototypes of last season, because that would be new. It would be very cool if it's not just diversity, it's emotional intelligence being upped as well. I would love that. Okay. Also, I think UK is a little more fake than the US. And let me explain why I say this, right? In the UK, they have like a trial relationship that they play as a marriage, whereas in the US they actually get married. Like when it doesn't work, niggas actually have to spend an entire year getting divorce settlements and everything. And I feel like that makes the commitment more real and the fights more real in the US. Sometimes when I'm watching UK or Australia, it feels more like a fake fictional reality TV show. And it also feels like some of these couples don't try hard enough because, hey, I'm not really married, I'm not really tied to this guy. At worst, I'll just be embarrassed on TV and maybe some people won't like me. And I feel like because they don't actually have to commit as hard as the Americans have to commit, it allows some of these relationships to end and crash and burn prematurely. Maybe, and this is the one thing I'll give the experts, maybe the experts were right in some of their choices, but because there was no fiscal and physical commitment, nothing you had to write down, then at the first sign of trouble, you just dipped. I don't know. It's just my personal thoughts. Okay. Now, I just want to say I love Jay. Let's just get into that right away. I love Jay. I think that I've always been saying that, like, y'all be talking about diversity, but there's like a specific group of people that seem to only get TLC diversity. And let's just all say that that's freak show diversity. Now, that's not because that's what we think of them. That's because that is how TLC markets them. Okay, My 600-Pound Life, Little Women, Barcroft on YouTube, if you know, you know, or Truly on YouTube, as it's now called. Like, people who are born different, have physical disabilities. This is the diversity I want to see. I think Jay's story is so sad, and they talked about how she was bullied and thrown into dumpsters. Like, what is wrong with people, bro? What is wrong with y'all? I've never understood the concept of bullying. Even when they try to make it easier, like, oh, sometimes bullies or people who are bullied at home or who were prior bullied and so they bully back. Like, I'm sorry, I don't get that predilection of wrong was done to me, so I'ma do wrong back. I don't know. Maybe I'm just different or something, but that just does not equate to me as monkey see, monkey do. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing what's been done to me. I'm not gonna breed negativity on people because negativity was done to me. That's not how life works. And so I'm so glad that she was able to rise above that and come with experience. And I'm glad, I'll say this prematurely because as I said before, I'm hoping that Jay and Luke are for real. And this is not going to be another Cam and Laurel. But I'm hoping that I'm right on my first assessment and the experts did the right thing when it came to those two. I like them, but I'm saying that cautiously. I like them, but I'm being cautious, okay? Now, let's just get into the experts since I'm talking about them so much. The experts are delusional. They always have been delusional. And I think even if this season goes well with all the diversity and everything, they're still delusional. I don't understand why they are still using the same formula that they've done on some of the most dramatic and traumatic seasons of this show. They are still doing the tit for tat method, the each one teach one method, the opposites attract method, and I'm sick and tired of it. Why do you guys keep thinking that, oh, she may not like this, but at least he hot? Oh, he kind of care about looks, but at least she has the emotional qualities he want. Now, you know darn well that if you are going to bring up the fact that this person might not be his type look-wise, this is how you know that they're talking about look-wise, when they say, well, that was his or her usual type, but it's not working for him or her. That's them saying that they know who they should pick, but they don't want to. And let me explain, right? Yes, sometimes our types are toxic or they don't work, but it is within a vacuum. Let me bring up Laura for 5 seconds. You couldn't find a Chelsea man who just wasn't gonna leave her? Can we have that conversation, please? Why are you going to bring this poor man Arthur? Now, this is not me saying that Lauren is a bad person. I actually think Lauren has a lot of depth. But I know how stressful this process is for these people because of how much they complain about it after it's done. What if the worst sides of her come out because y'all decided that she's emotionally mature enough for this man, and she might not be? This man isn't even emotionally mature. This man got vows off the internet and didn't even think to copy it but edit it a little bit. Now, I know that Chelsea men have not done her right, but that is because of her negative characteristics and theirs. Could you not have found a slightly attractive Chelsea man with a posh accent who at least is not going to give her the traumatic negatives of her ex-husband? Could you have not tried to find that? And if you couldn't find that, don't put her on the show. Because, hey, they sign up, but y'all have the final say. And now this guy, this Polish guy, Arthur, he really just wants somebody who's actually going to love him for more than just his face. And you think that it would be Lauren, right? Because Lauren is just so deep. But Lauren is also, she has a lot of standards. And some of them are superficial. They're superficial. I like both of them. And I think that they're both decent people right now, cautiously optimistic. But I do not know that they will work well together. I don't. I'll talk about that more later, but let's just talk about the delusionalness of the experts sometimes. And how they're just like, he's an introvert, but she's an extrovert. So, they'll drag each other into the middle. Because, sometimes the extrovert needs to cool down and the introvert needs to party hardy. Oh, like, can we please just, you're supposed to be experts. You're supposed to be therapists and life coaches. Like, can't you get to the root of the matter? Or is it that they know why they're pairing them together, but they don't want to give us all the reasoning because they don't want to put all these people's business out there? Then why are we watching this show? If there's a level to them, that's why you're pairing them, but we can't get to that level because it's too personal. This show is supposed to be a breach of privacy to a certain extent. Okay? We stop right before the pornography. Okay? That's where we stop. The pornography. Why can't we hear, if it is that we're just not seeing everything, why can't we see the actual deep reasons as to why you're putting some of these people together? And I say some because sometimes I see why they do this, and sometimes I think they had the right idea, and sometimes it's the couples that mess it up for themselves, right? So I'm not gonna put it all on them, but sometimes even when you're just seeing their process of how they put the people together, they seem delusional. And you've heard a lot of people on YouTube say, I could have done better. I could have done better. I could have did this. And you know what? It sounds dumb because they don't have the credentials. But the way that the experts are edited, their edit, makes them seem incompetent sometimes. I feel like the experts should sue for how they are made to look in the edit. And also, because I know UK and Australia has the couch moments that the US doesn't have, I actually like that. I feel like the US should do that. It's a little bit more accountability. But we never get to the meat of the matter at the couch sessions either. I'm gonna need that to change. Can that change, please? Can we get some of the depth? Please? Sometimes? A few times? Like at least one word of the depth? Because that also makes the experts look bad when we get this chopped up, screwed up, summary, bare level version of the couch sessions. Just saying. Anyways, okay. Okay, I talked about half of what I need to say, so let's just speed everything through, shall we? Now, we're not even going to talk about coitus or sex on the first night because they skipped through that, but as you know, the men be ready, most of them, and some of the women be ready. The weddings were good for the most part. As usual, in Mavs UK, they do the perfect wedding and the wedding with drama. So we all know the perfect wedding was Luke and Jay, and the wedding with drama, or the bad wedding, was Laura and Arthur. And let me just discuss that for a second. Luke and Jay, I brought up already that I really like them. One of the reasons why I like them is because they're in sync. Luke has said in many little scenes that Jay is like the female version of him, right? He's saying that she's beautiful, that he really does like her, that he is attracted to her, that he does notice the arm, and he's being honest about that, but it's not turning him off. He really likes her spirit. Everything he gets to know about her, he likes. Look, I really like that, okay? And I really like how Luke is coming. But when push comes to shove, will these opinions keep? I hope they keep. Because if it turns out to be Cam, I'ma roast the crap out of you, and that is a promise. Because Jay thinks you're attractive, but personally I don't. So if you end up being like Cam, I got a lot I can use against you. Now, Jay was feeling really self-conscious. She just did not know if she was good enough, and that just made me so sad. Just so sad. Hopefully Luke can reassure her, as I know she will reassure him. However, I did hear a little bit of a red flag, okay? She has the homie vibes, okay? Where because she doesn't feel like she's worth a relationship, she'll just buddy up with niggas. Girl, just like your sister asked you to turn on flirt mode and to stay away from buddy mode, I'ma need you to turn on flirt mode. Because what could end up happening is he could be attracted to you, right? But y'all could end up having so much in common. You could be so buddy that the relationship ends up not working. So please, I beg of you, girl, I beg. Let's turn on flirt mode. I'm begging of you. I like her sister, but she seems a little bit shady. But I like her. Let's hope everything goes well between those two. Last but most definitely not least, let's get into Lauren. Let me talk about Lauren right now, okay? I know I brought it up like she was a high maintenance queen girly, and she is, but she has a lot of depth to her. She can be reasoned with, and if you explain yourself properly, she'll let go of whatever negative first impressions she had. She heard that that idiot Arthur was very insincere with his vows, and she was getting upset. So upset that she was going to tear it up at the honeymoon. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. But then his best friend gave his best man speech, and she got more background on him and even more background on his job. And I knew she was belittling him because of his job. I could see it. But then when she heard the background of how he even got into tennis, she thought, maybe there is depth here. Let me find the depth. Here's my issue though. I know she's looking for depth, but Arthur don't seem very deep. It seems like his depth starts and stops with everything that we found out about him, and that's it. I'm hoping I'm wrong, because if it is that she was being a little bit of arresting bee, but then she decided to calm herself down and try to get to know him, and then he ends up being surface level, like, hey, all that depth that you needed to know is that I raised my brother and I'm not from here and it was hard to make friends and now I like tennis. If that's all that's there to him, she's not going to be happy. She's not. And I'm not going to be able to help him with that. I just want to say though that I do like Lauren. I do. Sorry, why am I calling her Lauren? Her name is Laura. I'm so sorry, girl. I do like her. But I do see how sides of her personality could end up not going well for the marriage. I can end up seeing how she could be the problem, but I can also end up seeing how he will be the problem. I do like, however, that with the edit, she's not just being completely villainized. We can relate to her. We can like her in certain situations. And I do appreciate it. Hopefully, the producers are a little bit more fair with the edit this season so that people don't have to come back and complain on Instagram Live. Alright, I think for right now, this is the end of it. I did want to make a guess as to who would be involved in the cheating scandal, but I don't think I'll be able to tell that until the 2nd to 3rd episode. So wait till then to get my thoughts on who will be involved in the cheating scandal. Because one thing I do love about Australia and UK, there's always a cheating scandal. Always. Look, the last season cheating scandal, Whitney and Matthew, gross. I hated her. I really did. And she was so pretty, but there's always a cheating scandal. And I knew she was gonna be in the cheating scandal too. The second I saw her, I'm like, she gonna cheat. As soon as there's an eligible nigga, she gonna cheat. So let's see if my cheating radar is still up and if I'll be able to tell who the next cheater is. Anyway, please give me all of your thoughts down below. Let's be respectful, as I try to be respectful to everybody except the experts. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's talk about it down below, and I will be doing each episode or maybe 2 or 3 together. We'll see. Goodbye, my sires. Susu.